Paula, are you ready to confess?
Yes.
What's your business name?
It's Paolian Sweets, Paolian Sweets and more. We
Okay.
do wedding cakes and desserts, a little bit
This
of
is
everything.
beautiful.
We also do other stuff besides weddings, but weddings is like I guess our bread and butter. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. How did you get into that?
So I started baking. Honestly, I've been baking since I was little. I started baking when I was probably like 10. And my parents have always been business owners. So in the back of my mind, I've always had like this idea to where it's like, I'm going to have a business someday.
Mm.
And I actually came up with my business name when I was probably 10 years old. Like I have like this little binder that we did in a class that's like Paolian Bakery. Eventually, as I grew up, I did other things. I started some college courses after high school. I worked in retail and I kind of forgot about the bakery thing for a while. But then as I was working in retail, it just felt like it wasn't for me. And we had just recently moved to Florida when I turned 18. So that's where I was working. And um, one time we decided to come back here on vacation and we were just sitting having dinner with the family and my husband. He was like, "Oh, well, maybe you should like open your bakery. I know it's something I've always wanted to do." And once he said that, I kind of realized like maybe I should actually pursue this. And um, I started like perfecting my recipes, and a year later, I decided to finally like jump in and open the business. But yeah, I've been baking for a long time, and we've been in business now for 4 years in February, which is crazy. I
Yeah.
feel like I just started. So it's almost 4 years that we've been open for business, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been crazy how much it's grown and changed.
Yeah.
But
Well, you have beautiful work.
thank you.
What kind of, I guess, talk me through like your process, like with it, as far as like booking clients and like how that would look.
Mhm. So usually our clients reach out to us, whether it be through social media or our website. We do get a lot of website inquiries, but regardless of how they inquire, usually ask a couple of questions to better understand how to serve our clients, whether it be for a wedding or birthday or whatever. Since it's more like this is more wedding related. For weddings, we do have like a longer questionnaire, just because we want to get to just understand just the vision for the wedding, the theme. Because when it comes to a wedding cake, it might seem like it's just dessert, but it's really a statement piece. Whether it be like a bigger cake like this one, or if we do like a smaller cake, we want to make sure that it just it's it completes the vision for the wedding and that it reflects what the couple likes. So we do have a questionnaire. We send that out. Once we get that back, we send a very thorough proposal with just pricing, tastings, delivery, a lot of design ideas. If the proposal looks good, that's when we move forward with the in-person consultation. Now, the in-person consultation is the fun part because that's where we get to sit down and plan out the final design for the cake, the desserts. We get to talk through ideas in person with the couple, and that's where we get most of, I guess, the information of. It's like when you meet the couple in person, that's when I can really see the cake and kind of visualize it better and make sure that it's perfect for them. Just because we go through all the wedding design and everything, usually takes about an hour. And then after the consultation, that's when we send out final contracts and get them booked. And what's cool about the tasting boxes is that I let the couples choose which flavors they want to try instead of having pre-selected flavors. That way they try exactly what they want. And I bring them with me to the consultation, the tasting, and they can take it home and try it with family. That way everybody gets to try it too. So
Are you noticing any trends as far as like specific flavors that are more often picked than not?
So for weddings, I have a list on my website that's like just really popular flavor combinations. The most popular one for weddings is my classic wedding cake. It's an almond cake with raspberry filling. It's I would say 9 out of 10 weddings have something that's almond raspberry, whether it be cupcakes, the cake. Um, we also do a chocolate overload a lot. That one has the chocolate cake with chocolate mousse. Um, I get a lot of people that like red velvet too. So we have a red velvet one with white chocolate mousse and cream cheese. That one's really good too. But definitely the almond raspberry is the most popular one.
And that was the one you brought today.
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
I'll do an overlay of the setup.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to try that one. We do the chocolate espresso one a lot too. But just the almond raspberry is the most popular one.
Yeah.
And we started doing a lot of cookie butter last year. So we do like vanilla with cookie butter or chocolate with cookie butter. And I feel like every time somebody tries that in a tasting box, they end up picking it somewhere too. So.
Yeah. There is kind of a tangent. There's a ice cream shop in Sandpoint, and they have this, I think it's like, I'll probably butcher it, but it's salted, I'll have to look it up, but it's something cookie butter. And I'm not like an adventurous ice cream person. Like I'm chocolate all the way. But I tried it and it is so good.
It is so good. Because I've tried like the Biscoff cookies like on an airplane. And for some reason, I had no idea that you could buy the spread like in the jar. And they have it like at Walmart and Fred Meyer and whatever. And I was like, oh, let me try it.
Yeah.
And I mixed it with the buttercream and it is incredible. And you don't need to do anything to it. Honestly, you just like from the jar straight to the cake, or you mix it with buttercream and it is so good. Or you can even do like, I do dessert shooters a lot. They're like little dessert cups. Those have been super popular too in weddings. I feel like every wedding this year had some dessert shooters. But I have a Biscoff flavor, and I do like a Biscoff crust with some vanilla cake, cookie butter, and it's so good.
Yeah.
So,
have you noticed any like design trends this year?
So vintage, it has been super in this year, which is why I did this for this one.
Yeah,
I did put flowers on it just because I don't see a lot of flowers in vintage cakes. But I feel like
it looks so good.
Like going all out with both flowers and vintage should be a trend.
It should.
But the vintage cake has been super popular this year. It's funny because when I first started my business 4 years ago, it was kind of starting to become a trend. And ever since I would say the last 2 years, it's like nothing but vintage cakes, especially like the white ones, whether they be like smaller hearts or larger ones like this. We've done a few. But yeah, the vintage cakes have been the biggest trend. When it comes to like actual like orders, I would say that another big trend has been doing a smaller cake instead of a big cake like this, doing a small personal cake for the couple and then doing a dessert spread for the guest. And I always recommend couples do that because you always get so many more options for your guests.
Yeah.
Like if somebody doesn't want cake, they can have a brownie, a cookie, a macaron. And we offer so many options. We have a lot of options in our menu. So it's always nice to have something for everybody.
Yeah.
And it also adds more options when it comes to guests who have dietary restrictions, like gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan. We also do sugar-free. So it makes it so that you can have an option for those guests too, instead of having one big cake that they can't have. So,
when I feel like, at least growing up, like it was like just common knowledge that like most of the cake wouldn't get eaten, and then you would just have it, and it's just kind of like you spend so much money. Like,
you know, the funny thing is, what I have noticed, at least from the weddings that I work with, if you have good cake, it gets eaten.
Yeah.
Also picking the right flavors. I always recommend my couples do something vanilla, something chocolate, and then they can do something unique, and then something fruity. Because you might like, I have a flavor combination. It's like a caramel banana. It is really good. It's like a banana cake with dulce de leche. It is a very unique combination though. So not everybody might like that. So I always recommend picking something classic like a vanilla, or like the wedding cake, like the almond raspberry, something like that, something chocolate. And then if you want to do something adventurous for your third flavor, you can. And what's really good about doing at least the dessert bars, it gets eaten more than the cake because you have more options. And I've even had people do to where they do like a 3-tier cake and a dessert bar, and then people can get like a slice of cake and a cookie or a pie or something like that. And that also helps getting rid of the dessert, because you don't want to have a ton of leftovers at the end of the night. Like you don't want to spend all this money and then have it be thrown away. So that's why it's really important to pick the right flavors, and make sure you have options for your guests when it comes to dessert choices. And if you do just one cake, I do recommend picking, like if it's a 3-tier cake, you can do 3 flavors. You can do 3 different ones. So it doesn't have to be all the same. Of course, ultimately it has to be something the couple likes. Like you want to make sure they enjoy it. But yeah, picking the right flavors and then picking the right dessert choice really helps cut down on the waste. So
what's the most common picked dessert items besides the cake?
So besides cake, I would say besides cake and cupcakes, and I feel like cupcakes still count kind of like as cake.
Yeah.
Besides cake and cupcakes, the dessert shooters have been really big just because they're so convenient and they look so pretty because you can see it's like a clear cup and it already comes with a spoon. So it's so easy to serve, but you can see all the layers. So it looks really nice and elegant. And we have like different flavors that you can pick from for the dessert shooters, but we can also make any of our cake combinations as a shooter as well. So you get so many choices and just they're very visually appealing. So people tend to gravitate towards them. Besides that, we make really good brown butter cookies. And I know it sounds...
That's what it was. Yes. Sorry. Anyways, the ice cream. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Brown butter is incredible. Like brown butter cookies, brown butter frosting. Like you can even make like a brown butter cake. It makes everything better because at least with cookies, they can tend to be overly sweet. When you brown the butter, it makes it tastes like a little bit saltier, nuttier. So it cuts down the sweetness a lot. But I know it sounds really simple. Brown butter cookies are really popular too. So yeah, usually either regular cupcakes, mini cupcakes, dessert shooters, cookies. And we've had a lot of French macarons this year too. Just because with those, I feel like they've always been so popular. The French macaron cookie, and you can do so many flavors with them too. And they're gluten-free. So
that's nice. What's a misconception brides have about baking or just the desserts in general? That
I would say, kind of going back to like the budget, the biggest misconception that I feel like with desserts, it's the budget for it. And I've even seen it to where like I don't feel like planners a good budget for it either, because it might seem like it's just, it's like a cupcake or a cookie, but at least with like cakes or even full dessert bars, they take a long time to make. It takes us days to actually prep, decorate, and that's not even accounting for the time that it takes for us to meet with the couple, plan with them. So we have to make sure we're charging accordingly because, I mean, we have to make sure that we're also making a profit. So I would say a big misconception is how much a cake is going to be. I know a lot of the times like people can get like the sticker shock, but there's so much that goes into it, so much time, so much skill, and so much time even before we even start baking, like planning, sourcing materials. Like if we make a cake that's custom, if we're doing florals, we have to research that. There's just so much that goes into it. Just a big misconception would be just the budget that they allot to the desserts. But a lot of times our couples are so understanding, and I feel like when they value quality, honestly, it's worth it. Because when I do like the full dessert bars, I always hear from my brides, they're like, oh my gosh, like everybody went crazy. Like it's the best dessert we've ever had. And just having that experience for your guests, it's a lot of fun. Like I love dessert bars. Like if I was in a wedding and I saw a dessert bar, I'm there. So it's an experience for the guests too. And it's definitely worth investing in. And
kind of going back a little bit to the budget comment, or it was something like that. But what's something that you had to unlearn in order to become profitable?
Not everybody's your client. And when I first started, usually when people would be like, oh, like that's too much, or I would always try to find a way to make it affordable for them. Now, I do keep budgets in mind for my couples. Like if they have a certain budget, I like to give them options within that budget and make sure that we can accommodate everyone. Like I don't want to like push anybody out. but there's always a limit, and you can't please everybody. And I've always found that the people that have like they come up to you, like, oh, my budget's $100, and then they have the biggest expectations, even more so than the people that are willing to pay more. And you just have to learn that some clients are not your clients, and that's okay. There's a baker for everybody, and um, if they don't value what you're worth, then they can move on, because it's a lot of work. And luckily, I feel like 99% of the people I work with have been amazing. Like, I haven't had a lot of issues with having to like fire clients or anything like that. But when people start getting, like, I've had a few clients where it's like every single time it's, oh, like, can it be cheaper? Can it be cheaper? Can it be cheaper? It's like, I'm sorry, I cannot work with that, because at this point, you're not really respecting my time and what I'm worth. So,
yeah. Well, I feel like those are the same clients that like kind of tend to micromanage vendors.
yeah, because it's like, I want this list that's like super long, and they only have like a certain budget, and you tell them like, hey, like, this is what we can do, but they always want to stretch it more and more and more and more. And at some point you can't give anymore. And I feel like that kind of goes for not only my industry, but in any industry. Like, I've seen a lot of times with like photographers, they're like, if the wedding doesn't have a coordinator, they're expecting the photographer to kind of run the day for them. I was like, that's not what they're hired for.
Yeah.
And you can't expect them to do more than what's, I mean, I always have to go above and beyond, but like, there's a limit to what you can do to satisfy your client. But yeah.
At the core of it, what do you think is like the main reason why couples try to micromanage vendors?
I just feel like when you're getting married, it's a lot of pressure. Like, you've been planning this one day, a lot of times for over a year. And I understand that they want it to be perfect. And it's funny because I feel like with the weddings, a lot of brides can get very anxious and try and make everything like perfect. And I think that's why they micromanage, because it's their day. And at the end of the day, it is their day. You want to make sure it's perfect. But if you pick the right vendors that you can trust, you just have to trust that they're going to bring that vision to life for you.
Yeah.
And at least with our services, I like to be very thorough when we first book the client. That way I know exactly what they want. And once we're getting closer to their wedding, I do get in contact with their wedding planner. That way, if we have any last minute details that need to be addressed, I can reach out to the wedding planner or the coordinator. That way I'm not stressing out the bride. Because I feel like once you're getting closer to the wedding, if you're going back and forth with them and they feel like you're not, I guess, ready, that's when they can get stressed out. So I always like to be in contact with their wedding team, not just the couple, because a wedding is a whole production. Especially if we've done like really big weddings. If they have like 200 guests and a ton of vendors, like, you just don't want to stress out the bride, because I feel like that's when they can get micromanaging and want to make sure that you're doing your job. But it's like, you need to trust your vendors.
Yeah.
I know it's like, it's your wedding day, but just relax. Trust that you made the right decision hiring your wedding vendors, now they can bring that vision to life. And I mean, I guess it is understandable, because it's like, I guess at some point you're going to have a vendor that doesn't measure up to the standard. And you might be like, hey, like, maybe I could have done more. But if you did your research, you know that this person is really good and you trust them, then you kind of have to step back and let them do their job. So
yeah, I think that's really important. What's something that you wish couples knew about you personally when they book with you?
I feel like I always want them to know, and I really like to make this known, like when we do the consultations, that I am like 100% invested in their wedding. Like, when I book somebody, and I book a lot of weddings a year, but I never forget a wedding. Like, I always remember, if I look at their name, I'm like, I know what their wedding cake is going to look like, what desserts they ordered. I usually remember what they ordered in their tasting box. Like, I am very detailed, and I am very invested in making sure that what they want comes to life. And honestly, I've I'll go above and beyond. Like usually when people order dessert bars, like I give them a ton of extra treats on the side. Like I always like to make sure that they get extra treats that I like to make sure that the day is perfect. So that's just something I like them to know. Like I'm 100% invested. Like I'm not gonna rush your order. I'm not gonna forget it. I just like to be there 100%, and I feel like that's just really important because
Yeah.
I like to make them feel like their wedding day is just as important to me as it is to them. And it really is. Like I love every single one of my weddings, every single one of my couples. Like I get excited when I'm gonna go deliver. Like I like to see the whole vision come to life and getting to know their wedding team. And a lot of the times they're there too, like getting ready. And it's really fun to see them and like finally like the bride's like finally seeing them as a bride too. It's just really exciting to finally see the vision come to life. And yeah, I'm just 100% invested.
Do you have any crazy wedding stories?
Oh, I've see the. I feel like I've had a few crazy things happen.
Yeah.
I do feel like with my business specifically, because I always deliver before the wedding starts.
Yeah.
Like I'm usually not there during the wedding unless it's like summer and it's like 100 degrees outside and we have to deliver during the reception, but it's usually during dinner. We stop in for like 30 minutes and then leave. I've had people to where like I set up a cake and somebody caked the table once and the cake topper flew off the cake. Mind you, 3-tier cake, probably about taller than this one, was probably about this tall. And I had just set it up, it was perfect. And she was gonna move like this tablecloth that she thought was like wrong. She kicked the tablecloth. It wasn't the tablecloth. She kicked the table. The whole table shook. The cake topper, which the bride like ordered like special made, it was like porcelain or something. It didn't break. I don't know how it didn't break. Flew off the cake onto the floor. And then she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Why? Why would you do that? Like, there's this massive cake on the table, and your first thought is to kick it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah." So, that was stressful, but at least nothing happened. I also had at a delivery. It was my first like dairy-free wedding cake that I had done, and we have we perfected our recipes. And honestly, I don't think the frosting was the issue. I was using my cake safe. Now, a cake safe is like this big box that's insulated that you use for tiered cakes. Like if we were to deliver a 3-tier cake or a 4-tier cake, I put it in the cake safe. I forgot to put like the lubricant on the rod in the cake safe. So I put the rod through the cake. I get to the venue in Middleton, so it's not close to my house at all.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to take the rod out and it won't come out. So I pull it and the whole top tier of the cake came off of the cake and it was just stuck on the rod.
Oh, no.
And with dairy-free buttercream, it's not like normal buttercream to where it gets cold and it gets really hard. It's a little bit softer. Now it's still stable. It's still going to be fine, like at your wedding, but it is going to be softer than normal buttercream. So I couldn't just push it down. I don't know how I got it off the stick, but I did. I did have to repair it. Like I always have repair kits with me for that same reason. But that was stressful because like the wedding party was there. The couple wasn't there, but the wedding party was there. And I'm like trying to get the cake off the rod, trying to make it seem like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like freaking out because it won't come off. And my husband was there with me. And I'm like, "Honey, it's not coming out. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I can." And it's a metal rod. So I'm like, I can't just leave the rod in the cake.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I ended up pushing it down with a spatula and I fixed it with some silver.
Mm.
But it was funny because I'm just like freaking out. Like, how am I going to get this cake out of the stick? Um, Ended up working out. Has never happened again. I have never forgot to put the Crisco on the stick again, ever. Every time, like even every time we see a case, my husband's like, "You didn't forget the Crisco, right?"
Yeah.
Like, no, I didn't. Has never happened again. So I guess I learned from that one. But yeah, there was. I don't really have a lot of like crazy like stuff that the wedding party has actually done or in the wedding, just because at the time that we deliver,
Mm.
it's usually an empty reception space and the wedding planner's there and maybe like the wedding party, but that's about it.
So I know that like it's common to like do cake smashing with people's faces. I feel like that's kind of stopped because I feel like there are
Mhm.
like rods in there.
There are, but honestly, I don't like that trend. I think it's mostly because I make the cakes and I know how much time it takes
Yeah.
to make them.
Yeah.
And not just like the decorations, but like when you bake the cake, I have perfected my recipes over years.
Mm.
So you have this really delicious cake and you just smashed somebody's face all over it. So now, I mean, if I'm a guest, I'm not going to want to eat the cake that
Right.
has like,
Right.
that's just gross.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. It's just never been something that I've been fond of. Even like I guess it can be like a little bit playful, but not like I've seen videos on like Instagram to where it's like they're like smashing the bride's face like into the cake. And I was like, I don't know. And like you spend so much money on hair and makeup
Yeah.
and the dress, and
Yeah.
now you're gonna spend the rest of the night full of cake. Like to me, that's just awful.
It's so
Besides,
much money wasted.
yeah, so much money wasted. Not just the cake, but like the makeup, the hair, the dress.
God forbid jewelry.
Yeah, like the whole thing. Um, but there can be rods in cakes. Like if we were to actually make a 3-tier cake like this, like a real one, we put actual wooden rods in there. I know a lot of bakers use like boba straws.
Mm.
I like to use wooden dowels just because a wooden dowel is not gonna bend, it's not gonna break, it's not gonna snap. It's gonna make sure that your cake stands up all day. Like we drove a 4-tier cake to Stanley once,
Wow.
and it stood out from probably like 11 a.m. Well, we got it in the car at 8 a.m. So from 8 a.m. until probably at 7 p.m. when they cut it, and it was in perfect condition. It was not going to go anywhere. Um, but again, if you have wooden dowels on a cake, they're very nice and sturdy. They will hold the cake together, but you can't smash somebody's cake like face into it.
Yeah.
Like you don't want them to get hurt. And I've seen videos on Instagram where people get actually stabbed like in the eye with like
Oh,
birthday cakes. And I was like, that is why you don't do that.
yeah.
Or at least, I mean, I guess if they're okay with it and they want to do that, at least make sure that there's no wood in the cake,
Right.
or cake toppers or anything like that, because people can get hurt. So,
Yeah. Do you have any advice on like how to avoid that or like make it like known like, hey, don't don't do that?
so I don't tell people not to smash the cake just because I feel like at least with our cakes, I feel like people do make quite a bit of an investment in them, whether it be for like a wedding or a birthday. I we make luxury wedding cakes, so they're not cheap. Like people are usually spending good money on them, so I don't think they would like get a cake that's like that to smash it. However, I always leave a note letting the couple, whether it be like a wedding or a birthday, I always let them know how many dowels are in the cake, how to cut the cake to remove all the toppers. I let them know like if they're full flowers, like oh they're not edible, you need to remove them. Especially like if we do like flowers like on a cake like this, if they were real flowers or full flowers or whatever, we wrap the stem. Sometimes we use toothpicks just to make sure that they're held in place. So I always like to make sure that whoever's buying my cake knows that that's something they need to be aware of
Yeah.
so that they don't accidentally not only smash it, but like if you're cutting it, you don't want to give somebody a piece of like a toothpick or a fake flower that they can't eat or anything like that. So I just like to make them aware of what's in the cake that's not edible, whether it be dowels, flowers, toppers, anything like that. And I've never had any issues with anybody getting hurt or anything. Um, just because I always like to let them know.
Yeah. Have you ever done edible flowers?
So I do buttercream flowers.
Oh,
I do not do sugar flowers. Sugar flowers are really a labor of love, and they take a very long time. Um, Now they are absolutely beautiful. They're stunning. However, they're very time consuming. And a cake, I feel like at least like a 3-tier cake like this, say something like this size. If we were to do all these flowers in sugar, probably takes about a week worth of work because you would have to do every single petal. And you need to wrap it in the wire, make sure that it looks real too. So that also adds a lot of cost to the cake.
yeah.
Um, but we do buttercream flowers a lot. Now with the buttercream flowers, they are very time consuming too, but we hand pipe them. Um, and it's already with the same buttercream that we use to frost the cake. So it's a little bit less tedious and time consuming than a sugar flower. But yeah.
Okay, without naming names, tell me about a vendor you'll never work with again and why.
Hmm. I had now I don't know I don't know if I will never work with them again. But I had this wedding once, and no, they had a coordinator. Now, I think when you have a wedding, especially if you have like a big wedding, I always think you should have a coordinator, a planner, just somebody there that is going to manage the day.
Mm.
However, just make sure that that person knows what they're doing. I
Mm.
did have a wedding that they had like a coordinator, but I got there and honestly, the whole timeline was just off completely, like by hours. And it was just a mess. Like, I had no idea where anything went. I They were just nowhere to be found. It was not it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would just make sure that if you do hire a wedding coordinator, which I think it's very necessary, that they know what they're doing. Read reviews. Just make sure that
Were they new?
I don't know. It's just I just feel like it was just very disorganized. Like
Yeah.
it was disorganized and the timeline was not running smooth and I just hard to get a hold of them, like, when I was there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, they're super nice and sweet. Like, I'm not saying they were, like, mean or anything like that. I just feel like it could have been a lot more organized.
Yeah. So that's your whole job.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it kind of felt like they had nobody there planning or anything like that, but they did.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Fun. Um, do you have any trends that you're loving right now?
Hmm. I would say wedding, like, overall wedding. Now, this is, like, very specific, but I love flowers too. Like I follow way too many florists and I feel like every time I do style shoots, I always like I love working with florists and just their work is incredible. I like when they do like the bridesmaids and they have like so the bride bouquet has all the flowers and then each bridesmaid has like one specific flower.
Yeah.
Like one of them has just roses or just lily, just as an example, just lilies, and then the bride bouquet has all of them together. I love that. Also, love colorful weddings.
Mhm.
Like the more colors, the better. Um, I feel like we do a lot of weddings, so like the traditional, like no, I love an all white wedding. Don't get me wrong, elegant, beautiful. But when I see a wedding that's like almost a full rainbow of colors, and it's just super colorful and vivid. I love it because I feel like we can get so much more creative with the
Mhm.
designs and making sure it's something really unique. Um, and I don't know, I just love color.
So with that, how do you feel about Pantone's color of the year?
Now, I love the white. I think it's beautiful. It's funny for because even for my wedding, I didn't do like a full rainbow. I did like white, sage, and gold. Super classic.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's very classic, very what's the word?
Traditional.
Traditional. What's the word for it?
Timeless.
Timeless, yes. Very timeless. Like I feel like it's never gonna go out of style. And I it kind of reminds I did like this wedding. It was back in May. We did like this big 4-tier cake. It was all white with all white buttercream flowers. It did have some like green like leaves, but just the white on white looked so elegant. I loved it. I love white too, but there's just something about color. Makes it
Yeah.
so much fun. Yeah.
I think so too, and I think it's so fun, like, kind of breaking out of, like, the millennial gray and everything, just, like, outside of weddings in
Yeah.
general. Um, just, like, having, like, I don't know, like, it's boring to not have that.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd be that person, but,
Mhm.
like, now that I see it, like, integrated in things, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that is really well done."
Yeah, especially like if you have like a spring or summer wedding with like
Mhm.
just all the bright colors, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
We did a not a spring wedding, but we did a wedding last December and the cake was white, but we did flower like Christmas flowers on it because there were Christmas colors, like a deep burgundy, like a green, like a forest green, really dark brown. Like even if it's like deeper colors too, like it looks great.
Yeah.
We also did a wedding this past October and I I love the bride. She was so sweet. But we did it was like a really deep green heart cake, like super dark green with black and glitter.
Oh.
And it was just like very like ethereal, like moody, and we did like black cherries on it. It was awesome, like just really deep colors. And we don't get a lot of that for weddings. Usually for like birthdays we can, but not for weddings. And it was beautiful. Like we got to the wedding and like all the linens were like super dark green and the bride was wearing like a black dress with gold glitter all over it. It was beautiful. So yeah, I like color.
Yeah.
Whether it be like bright colors, dark colors, and white is beautiful too. But
The
good to
colors
have
are
fun.
fun. Yeah. Do you have any advice for couples who wanna make the most of, like, desserting the cake without breaking the budget? Because I know that that's a
Mhm.
big, like.
Yeah. So I would say, hmm, make the most of it. So I have like I wouldn't say it's like a package, but um not all the desserts are gonna cost the same. So it really depends on what you get. So usually a lot of the times if my couple wants to do something that's a little more economical, but they still want to get a really nice dessert, I recommend doing like a small, simple cake for them. Because that's gonna be the cheapest option. And then doing a dessert bar. And then on the dessert bar, you should recommend getting brownies, cookies, mini cupcakes, and mini donuts. Now, because those are gonna cost the least amount of money, but they're really popular and guests are gonna love them. And I know they're like more like simple desserts, but they're really good. Like
Yeah.
usually at the expo, I bring the mini cupcakes, I bring brownies, I bring donuts for people to try, and people love them. So I usually recommend picking more simple desserts, smaller cake, um, and just going from there
Yeah.
instead of doing like cake pops, macarons, dessert shooters. Those can usually rank up the price a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
and also if they wanna even if they wanna let's say they wanna do a bigger cake, not a dessert bar, if they do like a plain white cake and have their florist provide the flowers for it, then that makes it cheaper on our end too, because I don't have to buy the flowers, then they just buy the cake from me, and then when we come into the wedding night to deliver, I will put the flowers on the cake anyway. So I'll put them on there, make sure that they're wrapped the right way so that they're food safe. Um, but that saves them some money on my end, and since the floor's already ordering flowers, it's
Yeah, and then I feel like it creates, like, even more cohesive look.
mhm. Yeah, which I love when florists provide the flowers, even if it's not like to save money, um, just because it makes it so that the cake actually matches the reception. Now, I always ask for a lot of pictures, like send me pictures of your flowers, send me pictures of your colors. I want to make sure they match, and we always do a pretty good job on matching them. But it is a lot harder for me to source a very specific type of flour if I'm just gonna be using a couple for a cake and not doing a big wholesale order.
Mhm.
So I always recommend ordering with your florist anyway. But if we do like a plain white cake and they provide the flowers, that usually helps with the budget too.
Well, and they can't always use all of the flowers anyways,
Mm.
and so.
I mean, I think they always do. I mean, from what I've seen, I feel like they always order some extra
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
even with like when I deliver desserts, I bring extras. Now, I do like my couples to have extras, but like, what if I drop some? Or what if, I don't know, like a bug lands on one of them when we're delivering? Like, stuff like that. Like, you want to make sure that you have extras to back off. So I would think it's the same for flowers.
Yeah.
I don't think they would order like so exact to where we don't have extras. I've had a few weddings to where they forget to give me like 8 flowers. And I know florists hate this, but I've had to, like, go hunting and they're, like, centerpieces. But it's like, I had no choice. Like,
Yeah.
what was I gonna do? Like, I didn't have any flowers, so I have to go, like I'm, like, trying not to ruin the centerpieces and picking the ones from, like, the bottom that they can't see. And I know that's, like, probably a big no-no with, like, planters and florists, but I was like, I don't know what else
Right.
I would do. And it's funny because like, 10 out of 10 times, they won't notice. They won't even know because, of course, I'm not gonna, like, ruin your arrangements. I would not do that to you. But I've had to go, like, hunting for flowers on centerpieces, and it's not fun because 'cause I'm,
So
like, trying
bring extra
yeah.
flowers.
Yeah, so bring extra flowers, don't forget to tell your florist. I feel
Mhm.
like sometimes they just forget, and, I always send my couples, like, emails, like, weeks before, like, "Remember, we need the flowers, put them on the table, the cake's down," lots of stuff, but, things happen and the day gets hectic, and sometimes they forget, and I'll make it work, so
Sorry. So going back on the, you said like a bug landing on a cupcake, and that made me think. Do you have any advice for Idaho specific weddings in the summertime? Because I know bugs are a huge issue.
they are, and honestly, I'm not pun not intended, but it bugs me so much.
Yes.
Because even if it's like an indoor venue, if you open the doors a lot, the flies are gonna come in. I always like when they have like, those little fans like on the
Yeah.
table.
Mhm.
Like whenever they have those, godsend. I love it. Usually what I recommend is delivering a little bit later in the day. Now for indoor weddings, I usually don't get issues with bugs unless it's a venue that's like out out there and they have like a lot of cows around. And those are the only ones that the flies are really bad inside. If it's an indoor venue, it's usually not big of a deal. I usually don't get bugs. Now, we do have a lot of outdoor venues here, a lot of tents. Now, not only do you have bugs, but it also gets really hot in the summer here,
Mhm.
and you cannot have a cake out. And when it's 100 degrees, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So usually, what I recommend doing with my couples is delivering as close to cake cutting as possible. Now, the only downside to that is that you don't get to display your cake as long. However, it's either you display it for long and it melts, or you display it for a short amount of time and you get all the nice pictures and you get to eat it fresh without it melting and with all bugs. So yeah, just delivering closer
Yeah.
to the cake cutting time, not necessarily the reception time. So I feel like once the reception starts, it takes people a while to get to dessert because usually you eat your dessert when they're doing the cake cutting.
Yeah.
So we have to deliver during like late dinner time, just to make sure the desserts are out the least amount of time as possible. And that usually prevents the bugs from coming in. Um,
Just like as a guest, like I went to a wedding a couple of summers ago and it like just you could tell they spent a lot of like maybe not a lot of money, but they spent like they had a lot of different dessert options and they were all covered in bugs. I'm like, I'm not touching that.
like I don't want to eat cupcake with a side of fly.
Right. Yeah.
Even if it's not like there's other bugs too. And it's not just
Yeah.
flies, but like the little tiny ones that kind of get stuck in the buttercream and don't want to come out. I was like, I'm not touching them.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
all wasted.
Yeah, but that's why I love outdoor weddings. They're absolutely beautiful. But it sucks for food, and not just cakes, but, like, if you wanna do a charcuterie spread, if
Yes.
you wanna do, like, outdoor, like, buffet style catering, because I feel like if it's plated, it's different, but if it's like a buffet or if it's, like, a charcuterie board, a dessert bar, it's just not it.
Yeah.
Um, I would say, like, if they did, like, a bigger cake, that'd probably be better because I feel like the bugs are not gonna get inside the cake.
Mhm.
And if we deliver the cake later, usually bugs are not gonna get on a cake. But if you have like a dessert bar with like a ton of cupcakes, it's like, the bugs are gonna go have a feast.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. So usually I recommend displaying food inside, whether it be actual dinner or dessert. But that's not always possible. But I always recommend having food inside. Like if you want to have something outside, maybe have the reception out or the ceremony outside, reception inside. And I feel like we do a pretty good job here having venues to where you have both options. Like you can have both outdoor and indoor.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like in the summer it's kind of necessary because it's really hot
Yeah.
and I've been to weddings to where it's like barns with no AC, 110, smoggy with smoke outside. Like, your guests are not having a good time.
No.
Like it's hot, it's sweaty,
Mm.
but then you also have to like have all the food displayed out. It's just I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan, but
Yeah.
if you have to make it work, you have to make it work. It's not that big of a deal if it's like October or September. So I'm like, if you want to have like an outdoor wedding, do it in October.
Mhm.
Weather is amazing,
Yeah.
less bugs because I feel like September has a lot of flies, but October doesn't.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Okay, this next one is just this or that, no explanations.
yeah.
Okay. Ceremony or reception?
Reception,
First look or no first look?
first look,
Indoor or outdoor?
indoor.
Buffet or plated?
Played in.
Okay. Band or DJ?
I like DJ.
Champagne tower or sparkler exit?
Champagne Tower.
Biggest wedding day?
Hmm. Well, no, having a wedding planner be in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what should couples splurge on first?
Mm. No explanation.
Yeah.
Venue.
Mm, okay. What should they cut without hesitation?
favors.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like favors.
What's your go-to Dutch Bros order?
I like Kokomo's. Blended iced, hot. Blended is the best though.
What's in a cocoa?
I think it's coconut,
Mm.
chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just coconut and chocolate.
Mm.
They have a German chocolate one that I like too, and that one has caramel too. But it's really good, but it can be a little too sweet. I mean, there's no sweet too,
Yeah,
but I love coconut everything. So
that's good. What's one sentence of real advice every couple needs to hear?
mm, just a sentence.
Mhm. Or I mean, like this one can be extra.
Yeah, I would say I know like you're planning your wedding. It's just one day, but like you have to remember to have fun with it.
Mm,
When you start getting like I mean, I know it can be stressful, but when you start getting like too stressed out, too micromanaging, to where you're not even enjoying the planning process, like what are you doing? Like you're supposed to be enjoying. Like you're only gonna do this once, hopefully.
yeah.
um, so you want to make sure you're having fun. You want to make sure that you're enjoying the whole process and not nitpicking everything. But besides that, but also make sure you're picking the right vendors. Because I feel like when you have the right vendors, that's when you can actually relax and enjoy it. Because when you pick the wrong vendors, that's when you start panicking. That's when you start micromanaging. So just make sure you're picking the right vendors, enjoying actually planning your wedding, and then enjoy your actual wedding day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just try to not be like running around like a chicken with the head cut off, trying to micromanage everybody. Like actually try to enjoy it and soak it all in. I feel like when I got married, I we did more like an elopement. We eloped up on the Rosa State Park, and then we drove down and did like a ceremony, then not a ceremony, like a little reception at my mom's house. And it was beautiful and I loved it. But I also feel like I spent so much time like trying to make sure that everything was perfect that sometimes you kind of forget to be in the moment, and then the day is gone because it happens so fast, and you're like, wait, like it's over. It already happened, and it's like you're not gonna be able to go back. So
Yeah.
make sure you enjoy it.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for being on
Of course, a
podcast.
pleasure.
Where can they find you?
So business name is Paolian Sweets. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Those are the two biggest ones that we use. Mostly Instagram if you want to see our stories. Even another true to Facebook too. But our website as well has a lot of good information there with like menus, pricing, and you can contact us through there as well. Um, yeah, Paolian Sweets. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
of course, a pleasure.